Hi, I'm Mars from StrataGames, and today we're playing some more White Weenie in Pauper. This is the list from Andrea Martellini, who made 19th place in Paupergeddon last month with this list. And I thought there were a lot of very interesting things about it, which is why I want to try out this list. First of all, we're only playing 19 mana sources, including 3 Idyllic Grange. I played quite a bit of White Weenie. Most every single list plays at least 20, if not 21. Usually 1 or 2 of those is in Eagles of the North. And then when I play those lists, I often get super flooded. So I'm interested to see how this one compares with fewer lands. But we also just have a lot of interesting picks that you don't usually see. The biggest one maybe being Hinterland Sanctifier, which is kind of like Lunarch Veteran. You gain a life every time one of your creatures enters the battlefield. It does not disturb from the graveyard, which is a big drawback. However, it just simply has 2 toughness, which is a major buff specifically against Mono Red Madness, because this can't die to a Lava Dart, which can be really, really powerful, and I assume the reason why this was chosen. We, of course, have 8 Inspectors, but also playing a 1 of Steadfast Unicorn. This has fallen out of favor in the deck a little bit over the last year, but I always really enjoyed one of these to break board stalls. So pretty happy to see one here. We're playing 2 Great Swords of Tyr. I've tried this out in some White Weenie lists recently, and with only 1 in the deck, wasn't able to use it to great effect, so I'm excited to actually be able to play with it today. Normal, 4 Skyfisher, 4 Raffine's Informant, 4 Thraben Charm, 3 Prismatic Strands, 2 Chocomogs, 3 Guardian's Pledge, 4 Battle Screech, 1 of Remosian Rally, and we're playing 2 Salt Road Pack Beast, which after its release, a lot of people thought wasn't really strong enough in the deck, but it still is seeing a little bit of play here. And if you counted all this up and noticed there are 61 cards in our deck, that is the list that they submitted. I figured let's give it a go and see how it does. For our sideboard, we have 3 Hollow, 2 Obsidian Acolyte, 2 Holy Light, another Prismatic Strands, 4 Dust to Dust, 2 Standard Bearer, and a Palace Sentinels. So let's take this for a league and see how we do. This hand seems good enough, so we'll give it a try. We have some 1-drops, 2-drops, Utility, Battle Screech for later, and we are against red, starting off strong with the Tomb Raider. So I'm probably going to just want to play the Sanctifier to get our life gain going, especially with an Inspector. If I want to play 2 creatures next turn, I can do that. For more blockers as well, because they're playing Red Rally. They Experimental Synth into a Lightning Bolt. That's a bit of a pain because it probably means the Sanctifier is, just going to die. So I could go for a Raffine's Informant, but that just trades with the Tomb Raider. I think I'm going to play 2 Inspectors. This is a bit tough because if we get another Plains, these fit into our curve a lot better than the 2-drops all do. But I don't really want to trade just a 3-2 for this. I could double block the Tomb Raider. Obviously, that means they both die to a single bolt, so I'm not sure I'll do that 100%, but it also blocks a lot of 1/1s if they try to go for a rally or anything. And I think we don't want to risk losing both of them to the Tomb Raider, so we'll just eat the Percussionist here. They flip up another Tomb Raider, and they have an End the Festivities to wipe one of the Inspectors, not the end of the world, play the other Tomb Raider. We do get a Plains, though, so I can Skyfisher replay the Inspector. It's a good blocker and makes it so we use our mana. They Reckless Impulse, hitting a Rally and a Mountain. They bolt the Skyfisher, which is a real pain. So we're going to take 4, get another Battle Screech. Well, the only thing we really have to play to affect the board is this Informant. We get to bin a Battle Screech. I was hoping for a 1-drop, or I guess even a land, but we'll bin one of these, and Inspector blocks 1 guy from their rally. Raffine's Informant trades with the Tomb Raider, and they just have 2 rallies. I guess I could block 2 of these. We take 6 down to 3. Not great, but we only save 1 damage by losing our Raffine's Informant, so I don't think that's the play. We get an Inspector, so we get to play that. Hold up Thraben Charm. We can deal with all the creatures here. Hope we don't die to a bolt. Ren's Resolve. Hits Burning Tree Emissary and a Great Furnace. Not the worst. Play the Emissary and a Percussionist. They do swing with the team, so we get to Thraben Charm down a Tomb Raider, and then eat these 2, trade here, I suppose. We lose our guy, but it gives us the best shot to do stuff next turn, or if I keep this around, I could like flashback a Battle Screech. I think we just block like this. Going to 1 feels unwise. We do get a Plains. I think our best bet is to Battle Screech, flashback Battle Screech, flashback another Battle Screech, and then hope they don't get anything with haste, or just bolting us. But we can maybe get like a Guardian's Pledge and win that way. Like, I could just leave it here, but I think we definitely ought to flashback this at least once. This plays around 1 haste creature. We can take 1 damage from the Percussionist, though, so even if they have like 1 haste creature, I can block, but if we flashback the second Battle Screech, we do die to a Rally, we die to a Bushwhacker, but it opens us up to winning with Guardian's Pledge and a Choco Mog in like a couple turns. I think this is our best bet. They sack the Synth, get a Percussionist off the top, play that. Well, we have to chump here and trade with one of these. Hope they don't get any burn at all. Goblin Tomb Raider. A Prismatic Strands would also be very, very good. Thraben Charm. I can crack a clue and I can Thraben Charm. Well, we're going to crack one of these. Skyfisher. Can pick up a Plains. It's basically just as good as a Thraben Charm, but it also lets us get a guy down. Because we're dead to any burn anyway. So I guess we hit for 3. We died to 1 haste creature this way. I guess we'll just hit for 2. But like Guardian's Pledge off the top would be 16 damage with our birds. Except we're going to probably have to lose some of the birds in blocks. So not quite that much damage, but they play a Ren's Resolve. We have to whiff. They have to whiff on 2 cards, and they get a Fire Blast, which is going to kill us. Bushwhacker actually does not, but the Fire Blast will, and I'd be surprised if they did not cast it. All right, they do. Well, they just had the removal like several times, because this is definitely a match where we should be favored, because we have a lot of creatures and we have a lot of life gain, but we get another Prismatic Strands, Holy Lights, and 3 Hallows. Thraben Charm is just like a bad removal spell, and Greatsword, it feels like we need to like take over the game fully before Greatsword's going to be good enough. I think those are the worst cards. All right, we have a reasonable hand. We'll keep. Would love if one of these was the Hinterland Sanctifier instead of just useless inspectors. Last one didn't gain us any life at all. There's a Percussionist, play another Inspector, play a Grange, and pass. Depending on what we draw, I might just crack a clue to try to hit our land drop. They attack with a Percussionist. They didn't last turn, and now they might be missing a land drop, so I think we're just going to let them hit, and they do in fact miss a land drop. We don't, though. Pretty nice. So now we get to swing for 2, hold up Hallow and our clues. They swing for 1. Play Galvanic Blast to deal 2 damage to this guy. I could keep it alive, but I don't really think it's the card I need to keep alive. Plus it would make it so I couldn't clue here. Hinterland Sanctifier is nice. So I kind of want to Battle Screech and just flash it back, but they could have it end the festivities, and that's actually pretty good for them. So I think I want to wait until I have the Hallow available to do that. We'll hold up Prismatic Strands here. If they do try to kill the Sanctifier, I'll probably use that. Because then I could have that for the Battle Screech, even if I don't draw the land. And we just win. Obviously, they kept a rough 1-lander. They should have left back, since we were applying more pressure to them, though, they should have left back the Percussionist those few turns so that we couldn't attack into them without giving them the card draw. All right, we got another reasonable one. No like spell interaction here, but we do just have Sanctifier into a bunch of creatures, assuming it can survive. They have Percussionist turn 1. We have a Hallow, so I could just play the Sanctifier. I almost want to just Inspector and then play the Sanctifier next turn with the Hallow up, so that if they try to bolt it, it'll survive. They have the Burning Tree Emissary, and there's a Galvanic Blast. Okay, not the worst. I'm going to do this. It is a little awkward if we don't get another Plains, because I can't play a 3-drop next turn, but they're going to try to bolt that, and I'm going to gain 3 instead. If they have another bolt, they should use it in response, because then this wouldn't deal anything, and it wouldn't gain us the life. But they don't. They have a Bushwhacker. They hit for 7, but we're definitely going to take it, because this can then block the 1/1s, and we do draw the Plains. So Choco is not doing a ton this turn, but next turn I get to Battle Screech, gain 1,000,000 life, and they just concede. I mean, they mulliganed, they were out of cards already, and then the Battle Screech next turn was going to gain us 1,000,000, so that's how you beat Red Rally. You can now pick up my comprehensive guide to Esper Cryo Affinity, including 38 sideboard matchups, and I just put out a big update for my Black Sack guide, including a slightly different deck list. I began offering coaching sessions if you're interested in taking your Pauper game to the next level, and I'm accepting deck donations, so if you desperately want me to play a deck that I usually wouldn't play, something like Elves, then you can make me do that for a small fee. I've started posting a League video every single day, not to mention streaming at least a couple times a week on Twitch, but I'm not going to be able to keep that up forever unless I can get a little bit more help from the community. Any of the ways I've just mentioned are great ways to help me out, or you can even subscribe and support me on a monthly basis. All right, we're on the play here. It's a 1-lander. We have 4 1-drops. I'm going to keep it. It's definitely risky, but we do have plays for several turns. If we're against red or, well, Arbor Elf, we hit the Plains perfect. If it's Elves, then we're in a tough spot, because Elves is just already a really tough matchup for us. If it's monsters, that's a little bit better for us. And just hitting that second land helps a lot, because now we can crack clues, try to hit even more lands. The Utopia Sprawl. So it does look like monsters to me, but they didn't have another land. They have to rumble to try to hit one. They do find a forest, if they want that, which they do. Another Sprawl. Okay, well that means enormous creatures next turn already. Remosian Rally is pretty decent. We're just going to crack a clue, try to hit that land. We do, and I think we just attack. They could have like a boarding party or something, but I'm not probably going to chump that anyway. Might as well hit in for 3. Between Chocomog and Rally next turn, we could hit for 9, potentially. They take 3, and then Tap for a bunch of mana. There's a Jewel Thief, okay. So not one giant creature. I guess they could still play a 6-drop here. Repurposer, they're just playing a bunch of medium creatures. That's kind of fine. Oh, and a Crimson Fleet Commodore, sure. Thraben Charm's decent. I might need to save it for a Hydra. If we can take the Monarch, we just kind of keep it with the Strands. So I think we go for a Choco. This doesn't pump toughness, unfortunately, because if we do Chocomog, attack with everything, and then do Remosian Rally to pump everything, if they block all, everything's just going to trade, which I was thinking these would be 3/4s and would eat these guys, but trading's not quite as much what I want. I could Thraben Charm down a Jewel Thief and then attack. We get the Monarch, but we're not going to keep it because we don't have the Strands right away. I could Choco, and the next turn I can attack with everything. Strands to keep some of my guys alive and rally, but they are going to have something else enormous next turn. I could just Thraben Charm to kill the Arbor Elf, so they can't play something very big, and play a Unicorn, and then next turn I go for the Choco and the Rally, and I get in with one of those creatures. It's not terrible. They still get to play something, though, and if it's like a Chrysalis, I'm in a bad spot. But if I just play the Choco and the Rally, trade with everything, they're going to play something big I'm not going to get in next turn. Yeah, I think we're going to kill this Arbor Elf and just pass, strangely. Neither one feels quite right. Just shy of being really good. There's a Wild Growth. They're going to attack with the Jewel Thief. It's pretty free attack. I guess I could triple block and I just trade one of these for this, which is what I'm going to trade for when I attack. Now they could have like a Bannerhide Crew Shock. Then I have to rally to not lose all my guys, and that doesn't seem very good. I think we just take the 3. Also, Strands is decent against them, but it's not amazing, and we're seeing that in colorless creature, red, green with trample. So Strands keeping the Monarch is going to be tough. We do get a Thraben Charm. I think we just do this plan though, because now if we take the Monarch and trade with everything, that's not a bad position to be in. Although I kind of expect them to have, since they didn't play anything for 4, I expect a Bannerhide to pump one of these, if not 2 of them. But kind of got to try something here. They block them all, and we're going to give +1/+1. They could also just have a Ram Through, but I expect they have something. If they don't, we're in a very good spot. If they do, probably not so much. There's the Bannerhide keeping the Commodore alive, and there's the Ram Through killing our unblocked attacker. Yeah, not great. I guess if I get a 1-drop, I can Thraben Charm this down and attack. Although they might just attack, yeah, for 7 here, because that's pretty scary. Oh, they have a Generous Ent. Hinterland Sanctifier. I'll play that, and I'll kill this while they don't have a way to pump it again. We gotta pass. There's a Malevolent Rumble into an Arbor Elf over a Jewel Thief. They play a Repurposer. That's a bunch of chump blockers. Another Strands. Choco's gonna kill itself next turn. I don't think there's any way out of this game. I guess with 2 Prismatic Strands, maybe I should keep playing because we can blank their attacks, but we don't even have 4 lands to get a Battle Screech here. There's a Wild Growth Rumble for a Repurposer. Bannerhide onto a Repurposer. Sorcery Speed. Play another Commodore. Block here, Strands for green. We get a Plains, crack a Clue, Pack Beast, amazing. Alright, we are dead. Unfortunately, our sideboard does not really accommodate for them that much. They do already have the initiative to introduce, so we might as well put in our Sentinels to try to take it back. I think an extra Strands. Holy Light can hit spawn, but that doesn't matter too much. Nothing else looks great. There's nothing I specifically want to cut either. Strands aren't always very good, especially because they're playing not just green and colorless, but also the red guys they're not always playing. But if we are trying to play a Monarch game, the Strands get better. I guess Chocos, maybe just because they die, and this is very good. Like, they die after a few turns, and this is very clearly going to be a grindy matchup. Maybe they're not what we need. This one's not going to work. We need more of a curve. We need more creatures for these Pack Beasts, but I think we'll keep it. I guess maybe I should get rid of one of them. Kind of feels like if we're going to get to play one of them, we're going to get to play both, and then I would really like them, so I think I might get rid of this Rally. Like, if we don't get to Pack Beast, we're going to lose regardless, I think. There's an Arbor Elf. Not going to be able to kill that. More cheap creatures does help with the Pack Beasts. They once again have the 1-lander, but with Arbor Elf they can untap, and they can play a Rumble or something, or just another Sprawl. They pass, we get a Plains. So that lets me crack my Clue, play my Unicorn. Might as well crack first in case I get, like, another Sanctifiers to gain more life quicker, but we are already at enough where we can play Pack Beast for 3 mana if we need. Obviously, we'd prefer to draw like a 1-drop next turn, so I could play a 2-mana Pack Beast into a land, or depending on what they play, if like getting a Palace Sentinels down could be good, maybe a land just straight up would be nice. But they do have 7 mana already. Repurposer and a Crew Shock. Idyllic Grange. So Pack Beast is a 4/3, so it trades with Repurposer. It trades with the Crew Shock even with a counter. I could play the Palace Sentinels, but they have a 4/4 trample. I think it's probably better to save. So I think we'll play the Pack Beast first. See what we get here. Fiend's Informant, and let's buff up the Inspector. Just pass. Next turn I can go Informant Pack Beast, or if we get a Plains, I could go like Sentinels Pack Beast. They go for a Rumble, and they do hit a Crimson Fleet Commodore if they want that, which they do. So I might be forced to play the Palace Sentinels just to take the Monarch back from them, force them to attack at us, because they're going to probably try to just sit back and ride the Monarch to victory. We're going to need to stop that. Battle Screech is really good, though. I could Screech first here, or I guess I could Informant, pitch the Screech, flash that back, cast Assault Road Pack Beast. That might be better than 2 extra flyers, honestly. And then once we have quite the army, we can Sentinels of our own. Not to mention maybe just take the Monarch with our flyers. I think that's what we're doing here. Unless we get like a Prismatic Strands here, that's probably what I'd want to discard. But no, we even get another 1-drop we can play. Discard Screech, play a Pack Beast. Yeah, this could only be made better by like more free spells, Prismatic Strands or our Remosian Rally, although we just put that on the bottom, didn't we? Plains is good. Spectre. I could attack with a Pack Beast. It probably just trades with this 3/3. Yeah, it's probably better on defense here. Flashback, Strands, and then, yeah, Sentinels next turn, maybe. Or we could just take the Monarch and hold up, like, Pump from the Steadfast Unicorn, assuming they don't get creatures. That could be good. Only during your turn. Okay, well, never mind. I thought it was an activate only once per turn, not during your turn. There's a Rumble. Hits Crew Shock or Commodore. If they take Crew Shock, I have to play around the +2/+2, which is annoying for sure. If they take the Commodore, then taking the Monarch back with the Palace Sentinels isn't going to make that big of a difference, and they do take the Commodore. They cast a Crew Shock, no attacks, no reach. So unless they have like double ram through, ooh, and that can protect against 1 ram through, I should be able to take the Monarch with these birds and hold up a removal spell and just a bunch of blockers. Seems good. All right, Monarch is ours, and we're just gonna pass. I might end up cracking this clue, but if I draw like a Prismatic Strands right here, then I'd want to use Charm and Strands. There's a Wild Growth. Yeah, they might not even attack here if they're just going for Commodore, but if we take the Monarch back next turn, they're going to be forced to do something. Attack with the Crimson Fleet. I don't care about the Trample, because currently we don't have the Monarch, so I think I just block with this Informant. Seems like a good trade. Draw off the Monarch. Getting a little flooded, but it's probably fine. I could also just give Vigilance and attack with a bunch of guys at some point, but for now, we'll just swing with these birds. They Arbor Elf to untap their land. All right, let's see what they got. If they ram through one guy, I think I leave it. Fiery Cannonade. Gotcha. This is not going to kill the Crimson Fleet. It would kill this, this, and this. I guess I keep them all alive by pumping. Unfortunately, it's not going to keep the birds alive. And by pumping, I don't keep the initiative, or I don't get the Monarch with the Palace Sentinels this turn, but I think it's worth it to keep 3 of my creatures alive. All right, I think we're in a fine spot, but if I had anticipated that, I could have maybe attacked with more creatures. Although I guess they could have just chumped with all of their spawn at that point. Now they have the ram through to kill the Unicorn. Yeah, we're not going to let that happen. Unicorn, I think, is going to be invaluable here. So we're going to kill the Commodore instead. Now I think we're in a very good spot, depending on what they have here. Looks like an Avenging Hunter or Wildling. Generous. Okay, but we can just take the Monarch with the Palace Sentinels. We are getting very flooded, but they don't have the best attackers anymore. I mean, they have some Tramplers, but we have plenty of big guys too. If we're lucky, we'll stop drawing planes and we'll get some more Thraben Charms, Prismatic Strands. Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. They've found 3 Crimson Fleet Commodores. If I can get rid of the Generous End, find removal for that, or like a great sort of tier, then I think I'm in a fine spot. If not, I just have to ram into it, I guess. I can activate this twice, but Pack Beast still gets eaten by a Generous End, which I don't love. I think we'll go for an Informant, try to find something better. Okay, Inspector. If I crack the clue, I can't use the Unicorn. Am I even attacking in? If I activate Unicorn and attack with most everything, they eat a Pack Beast. They can trade like a Crew Shock for a Pack Beast, and everything else just gets eaten by, like, yeah, not very effective. If we get a Guardian's Pledge, then we're talking. Alright, at least we are expanding our force. Next turn, the double unicorn hit's gonna be... I mean, they have 6 creatures, so I can get in with for at least 12. Probably worth it then. Arbor Elf, they just have a Hydra. I mean, Hydra's not gonna be lethal, but is just kind of a pain. Leaving up 2 mana. Feels like maybe they have a ram through. And they put it on the big creature already. 13 damage. They only have 4 blockers. Block, 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 block. That means 6 creatures will get through, which would be for 18 damage. I feel like they have a ram through, probably. We're not blocking this. Even if they have a ram through, it's not going to be lethal. But if they have nothing, they've actually left themselves susceptible. But not really expecting nothing. We'll crack a clue. Guardian's Pledge would be lethal by a mile. Great Sword of Tyr is not something I can cast with the unicorn activations. So they have 4 blockers. So if they're going to block Pack Beast, and 2 2-power creatures. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 creatures are getting in, all of which have at least 1 power, buffed to 3 power. I mean, the math works out. I think either way, all we're doing is activating and attacking, but I could like Greatsword to tap down a blocker. We don't have lethal if they have a ram through, Greatsword or not. Yeah, I think we just swing with the team and just hope they didn't do their math properly. They might have left up mana just in case they top decked a ram through with the Monarch. That's my hope. They make a bunch of blocks, we will activate again. Or maybe they think this is only activate once per turn, so they didn't even realize that. Only a silly goose would make that mistake, but alright, we got there. 19 damage to them. I guess we still have a shot for this match. It has been a tough one. Do I need Hollow for the Fiery Cannonade? We already have 4 Prismatic Strands in, and they're probably only going to have like 2, maybe 3 of those. I think we probably don't, just because of the 4 Prismatics. And it's kind of hard to find room for those. Alright, we have a 1-2 curve, plus we have double Thraben Charm, which could be pretty good. More removal is always strong. They, of course, get the Arbor Elf yet again on turn 1. I can't kill it till turn 2. Although 3 games in a row, they have 1 lander, Forest, Utopia Sprawl, Arbor Elf. They're going to untap and Malevolent Rumble, or maybe they don't have that this time. That's pretty good, because I'm just probably going to Thraben Charm the Arbor Elf then. Although I guess if they have a Banner Hide, untap this Banner Hide onto the Arbor Elf, it doesn't work great. Killing this kills 2 mana. Blowing up the Sprawl also kills 2 mana. But if they have more, they don't have more enchantments, obviously, otherwise they would have used them. It's higher risk, higher reward to try to kill the Arbor Elf here. I think we're going to go for it and regret it if they have exactly what I've thought they might. They untap, maybe just because they might as well. Oh, come on. I just hate knowing the exact play they could make and then playing into not that. Playing into that exactly when I know it's a possibility. Real pain in the ass, but should have blown up the Sprawl, I suppose. They would have only had 2 mana, which means they couldn't have Jewel Thiefed here. Ram through the Sanctifier is honestly not the worst thing ever, but okay, I could still just blow up the Sprawl. That puts them down to 2 mana again. I think we do that. It's kind of a pain because they have just 2 3/3s, but we have Informants that should be 3/3s. They do get a Forest off the top, so they still have 3 mana. Repurposer. It's also a pain because Thraben Charm is some of our only removal, and it's good for their creature-based deck, but what are you gonna do? Gonna play an Informant. Strands is a nice pickup. I think we're gonna play another Informant, hope it also picks up a card that I can discard to grow it. I could discard that. It's not the best thing ever. And by that I mean it's a good card to have around. I think it's too good that I can't get rid of it. Strands in the graveyard is nice though. It makes their attacks kind of bad. Worse at least. So I could just block here. And then I could double block here. Flashback the Strands if I want to use it up that early. I think with the Monarch around I just take the 3 for a turn. Like if I can get like down a Skyfisher, take the Monarch, and then the Prismatic Strands can be pretty good. They could have another Banner Hide or whatever. That's something I accepted. They have a Ram through. Sure. I at least blocked it. They can't use a Trampler or anything because I could Prismatic Strands the Ram through, but this is colorless, so I can't do anything about it. So I'll take 3 there. Another Informant. So let's Skyfisher the Inspector, and then Informant, and I can pitch the Inspector if I want. I think the card is more important than the life gain here, though. So now we pass. Alright, so now they're letting me potentially kill the Arbor Elf and the Jewel Thief for a Strands, so I think I'm going to take that, keeping all of my guys alive. I just didn't love that I'd have to like use it just to kill, like the Repurposer would still kill our guy, but this way I get 2 free 3/3s out of it. That seems pretty good. Not to mention it keeps their mana cost low. The ability to make mana low, which is good because then we don't have to fear other things. Inspector, hold up Strands is nice too. Not that Strands is probably super useful. Probably worth just cracking a clue actually, because currently even a ram through doesn't really matter with the Strands. And if I get a 1-drop, that's a good card actually. All right, we have a Rafine's Informant to trade with this Repurposer, so I think we just start going on the offensive, especially with this Greatsword. They have a Wild Growth. If they don't attack, that's even better because I can just still tap this down. Yep, that's pretty nice. Idyllic Grange is a good draw because it gets a counter, plus I can crack a clue this turn. What do I want that on? Maybe get another 3-power creature? Oh no, I want to survive a Cannonade if they get red. So put it on the Inspector. For that reason, Greatsword onto our Informant. So it gets another counter as well. Attack with everything, tap down the Repurposer. I'm hoping I don't take 7 extra damage here. I guess it's theoretically possible, but the Hydra can't do that much damage. A Banner Hide shouldn't. All right. I don't think we played that last game particularly well. I probably, I walked into a trap that I envisioned as a possibility. I don't think it was the worst thing ever because, that could have still not happened, but I could have just blown up the Sprawl and I think I would have been in a far better position from the very beginning. And then I could have killed the Arbor Elf later. But we got there in the end. All right, this hand has no 1-drop, which is a bit of a pain, but otherwise a really good curve of Rafine's Informant, Chocomog into Battle Screech. So I think we're going to keep. We're on the draw, so if we're super lucky, we top deck Hinterland. Hinterland what? Scavenger? That's not right. We could be playing against Gruul again. We get a Guardian's Pledge, honestly. Obviously, a 1-drop would have been best. That's a really good draw, too. If we just do 1, 2, 3... or rather 2, 3, 4, 5. That could be really strong. I would love to get like a Prismatic Strands that I want to pitch to this Informant. They are already on an enormous amount of mana for turn 3, so we could just be dead here. Although they only have 2 cards left in hand. Thraben Charm. I could blow up the Wild Growth, then they have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. It's not a terrible idea. It puts our own game plan back a little bit. What's the worst thing they could cast next turn? I mean, theoretically worst is Annoyed Altasaur into Boarding Party into Avenging Hunter, of course. If I blow this up, they could still have 5 mana for an Avenging Hunter, and then without a creature on board, we're like really in a bad spot. I think we're going for the Informant still. Don't really want to pitch any of these spells, but I also want this to be able to trade with the Jewel Thief. Perfect. It's exactly what we wanted. Just a little free card. Well, there's the Annoyed Altasaur into an Arbor Elf. Okay, not as scary as it could have been. They don't attack. They probably should, because they should be willing to trade this for a Prismatic Strands or an Informant, but I'm okay with it. That means I can Chocomog, and then next turn I can Battle Screech, and unless their last card is another Altasaur or something really scary, we should be set up to just Guardian's Pledge in a couple turns. We even have the Idyllic Grange. If this hand had a 1-drop, it would have been just the perfect draw. Still very, very good. Now, they attack with the Altasaur. I could cash in the Strands for the Altasaur. Next turn, I'm going to Battle Screech. I'm going to have to tap one of these, but I could still Strands the Altasaur. And if I can do it next turn, I might as well wait, I think. No, because if I Battle Screech, they might leave it back. And then it's a reacher for our tokens. Although I am worried if they're... I mean, they have to attack at some point, so it's not like, oh, they're wanting to make this trade, but we're gonna try to cash this in. Killing an Altasaur with it is not a bad trade by any means, but it looks like they might have another one or a Hydra or something. Although Hydra I can just Thraben Charm, so that would be my preference. But it's another Altasaur, which I guess I can also Thraben Charm with an Informant, but into a Jewel Thief, also not the worst. Problem is I need to get the Battle Screech down before this Chocomog kills itself, so I don't think I can afford to Informant Thraben Charm this turn. So I have to Grange, might as well go on this one that doesn't die, and then Battle Screech, and then Flashback Battle Screech. Because this is going to be, we're going to have 4 flyers. It's going to be 16 damage with the Guardian's Pledge and the Choco next turn. If we get another land, we can also Thraben Charm the Altasaur. I mean, we're still at 20 life. We're in a pretty good spot, I will say. But they have enough damage that over the course of 2 turns I could die, so if I can't kill them in 1 turn, it could be rough. They do just attack out. I mean, I think I have to trade this with the Jewel Thief to try not to die next turn. Hope for no Banner Hide on this guy. Oh, look, it's my exact prediction yet again. So I go to 9. Choco's around for 2 more turns, or at least it pumps for 2 more turns. So, well, we'll see what they're doing, but I might not go for it this turn, because I'm not dealing lethal, obviously. And I might just Informant plus Thraben Charm to kill something, and then next turn I can Guardian's Pledge, go for a big attack, which would be lethal, because I hit for 4 this turn, and then next turn I could hit for 16. We also got Skyfisher, so actually instead of Informant, I can go Skyfisher, pick up a Grange, play an Inspector, and then hold up Thraben Charm. So there's that. Skyfisher, pick up the Grange, and then buff, I guess, the Skyfisher, because then it can block the 3/3s effectively. Okay, so I was doing my math before because I forgot we got to pump this turn too. So I can actually hit for 8 this turn, and then 16 next turn, so way more than enough, which means, do I want to leave any of these back? Because we could, like, eat this guy, chump here. Although if I actually use the Chocomog to block, like I have a 3-man charm to kill this and this blocks here, this here, then I actually do need to attack with all the birds this turn. So I think we will, and I think we can survive, assuming they don't get, like, a ram through or something. Here's hoping. They just get a sprawl, which they very kindly just cast right away as opposed to bluffing anything at all. Oh, I guess they have a Bannerhide Cruciak in the graveyard to scavenge, so that's fair. They're probably going to go on one of the Tramplers, though, and I can 3-man charm it. If they're smart, I guess they put it on the small Jewel Thief, which I can kill even after that, because it's, you know, I can deal 14 damage, so we'll let it go. See how they attack, because they could leave back the Altasaur if they're scared, but I think they probably, yeah, just go for attacking with everybody. So we can block this here. This is the biggest creature, so we just shoot that. Block, and we'll take 7. So we should be good to survive. Kill this Jewel Thief. And then we can win with they have no Reachers, we can win with the Bird tokens and the Guardian's Pledge. Just trying to make sure, if I block like this, I mean, I guess I could block here. We'd take 8, go to 1. I guess that's technically the safer block. 1, 2, 8. All right, go to 1. And then we have the Guardian's Pledge to crack back. Hit him for 17 damage. All right. Close one. Same sideboarding as before, although we don't know if they're running Monarch now. And honestly, introducing Monarch, because this is a different list, obviously. Introducing Monarch is a little risky if they're not doing it. And we don't really need the extra Prismatic Strands. What did I cut for these before? The Great Swords. I kind of like the Great Swords. I just needed the Monarch to be coming in, so I think we're just going to leave it as is. If they play Monarch, obviously, we'll change it later. All right, this hand has some good utility, but only a 1-drop and then nothing till turn 4. As we've seen, we kind of need a lot of early creatures, otherwise it gets pretty problematic pretty quickly. We are going to keep this one because we have the Informant. I think I'm going to get rid of a Plains. We have an extra draw with the Informant. I can pitch the Battle Screech, so our hand is relatively low cost. I don't really want to get rid of any of our spells here. They do mulligan to 5, and then look like a totally different deck with Mountain, Relic of Progenitus. That is interesting. I mean, if they have a forest, that's fine, but if they don't have a forest, then they're in, like, a really bad spot. What is happening? I assume they only play, like, 2 mountains in their entire deck, so they're just crazy unlucky. I mean, look, the relics are going to eat up this Prismatic Strands or Battle Screech, no doubt about it. But if they can't, like, this, I would guess that they're, like, Red Rally right here or something. Informant. We'll see what we pitch. It probably is the Prismatic Strands because, like, I want to keep a land and another Informant. Yeah, I don't even know if we'll need a Strands here. Then again, if they're mono red, you know, maybe we need it against the burn deck. They just crack a relic right away. That makes sense. There's a forest, and they they have a Fiery Cannonade. I mean, that is annoying. Crazy. Because I was gonna Battle Screech. I was going to Fiend's Informant, pitch the Battle Screech. They wouldn't be able to respond, and then I could flash it back right away, which we can still do in a couple turns, but now it's going to take a couple more turns. There's a Plains. I'm just getting rid of this 3-man charm. We don't currently need the interaction. I'm just looking for these creatures and lands. If we get a land, I'll Battle Screech. Honestly, them getting rid of the Hinterland Sanctifier makes it so that it's easier for us to Battle Screech and flash back. That was the plan all along. But if we don't get a land, we're just going to Informant and do that, obviously. But here, flash it back right away so they can't relic it away. Hit for 3, and we also have a Unicorn here, so they are getting up to 4, maybe 5 mana this turn. And hey, if they have another Fiery Cannonade, we're kind of in a bad spot. But if not, we get to Unicorn, buff everything, hit for 1,000,000. There's an Arbor Elf, and they just pass. I mean, there's no way that they would have played an Arbor Elf out if they had the Fiery Cannonade, right? So I'll just activate here. If they had it in response, it'd be pretty good for them, but looks like not, and they're going to take a lot of damage, down to 2. So even if they do get a board wipe, I have a Skyfisher Lethal coming down in a bit. There's a Wild Growth. That gives them 6 mana. No, 8 mana. Miscounted. So they could get an Altasaur into something else. It's got to be pretty much a board wipe or bust. Utopia Sprawl's not going to cut it, and we're going to take that match down. Weird last game. All right, we are on the play with a lot of 1-drops, and then when we get to 2-drops, we have 1,000,000 clues and informants. Sure, we'll give it a try. We are playing a deck with slightly fewer lands, so I don't want to necessarily always mulligan if I have a 1-lander. Obviously, if it's a bad 1-lander, you know, I won't want to keep it. But it feels like a lot of Inspectors can keep us alive for several turns. And then once we draw into our second land, we should be good. So, I mean, if we're lucky, we just top deck it. But if we're not, then we'll be screwed. Draws Forge Bridge. I mean, if that's Jund or Grixis Affinity, generally we should have decent matches against both of them, although only if we're hitting our land drops. Looks like Grixis. We'll get rid of an Informant for now. We have plenty of things to do for 2 mana. Swing for 2. Alright, we trade. That's a decent sign that there's not a Krark coming, because otherwise they wouldn't want to trade a flyer for that. Okay, so it looks actually to be more like a Rakdos affinity deck, which makes sense. They missed a land drop now, so I don't really want to attack into them. So I've played some Rakdos affinity on the channel. It's been a little while. I've been meaning to play some more. But they're a lot more aggressive than a Grixis Affinity. And that makes us honestly have an even better matchup. Yeah, they kill the Sanctifier. We have an even better matchup because that means that not only do they probably not play Krarks in the main deck, but they also are just more aggressive. So they have more creatures and try to go faster, but we have a lot of life gain and just ways to slow them down with creatures. So we still need another land, but eventually we might be okay. We did get a Prismatic Strands in the graveyard, which can be decent if they do get some more burn. But we're obviously going to lose if we don't top take a Plains, like, right now. Take 2 from the refurb. There's a Strands. Well, they've now hit their land drops. I think we'll start attacking for a little bit, because I don't care if they want to chump with the Percussionist. They have Toxin Analysis. Fair enough. I'm not going to use a Prismatic Strands on that, so I guess I fell right into their trap. They crack a clue before they see what this is, which is weird, because what if they have an instant they wanted to cast that's more than 1 mana, like a Fanatical Offering or something? But it's a blood token, or blood fountain, rather. Mirror Enforcer, there's the Fanatical Offering. And Vampire's Kiss, an interesting one. We'll take 2. Alright, well, we never drew a second land. We do get Dust to Dusts, which should make this easier. Prismatic Strands, honestly not what we really need. Hollow is probably better. Greatsword doesn't seem necessary because they're going to be the aggressor. But I kind of like everything else. I guess we'll just bring in one of these. Alright, let's just keep lands. And yeah, I guess we'll keep this one. It's a little bit too many lands slash too many cheap creatures. But we get a card draw out of the Inspector. We gain some life off the Sanctifier. Boiling Rock Prison. If we're lucky, we'll find a Dust to Dust, although that is not an artifact land, so not taking their first 2 lands, that's for sure. Mistvault Bridge, okay. So they could be Grixis. There's the Dust to Dust. They could be Grixis, but it kind of feels like they're just Rakdos, and they just wanted like an extra indestructible land or something. I think I am still just going to take these 2, even though we don't get 2 of their lands. Getting 1 land is still really strong. Getting rid of the affinity count's really nice. There's a Wellspring. Range onto what do we want to survive the most? I mean, everything dies to a Metalcraft anyway. Metalcraft Galvanic Blasts, I guess just throw it on the Sanctifier, why not? I don't think I'm going to Guardian's Pledge this turn, so I could clue, or I could just pump with this. 4, that'd be 7, they go to 9, and the next turn it's lethal. Yeah, I guess we'll do that. I could crack the clue and maybe hit a 2-drop, which would be really nice, but this way I actually can Guardian's Pledge and clue next turn, assuming the Guardian's Pledge isn't just straight up lethal, which if they have a Krark, it certainly won't be. I assume that's from the sideboard. No, they have the Toxins in the main deck. They probably are playing it. I don't know. It just seemed like it was, I guess Prismatics should maybe come back in for this reason, but like Jeff definitely seemed like it was just more of an aggressive Rakdos deck. But if you're still playing like all the slow stuff like this, I don't know what the point of it is, I guess. I guess I'm throwing out a Chocomog just by itself. They have multiple Enforcers now. You could go for a Battle Screech. Skyfisher. I guess that's not bad. Counter on the Skyfisher. If they attack him with the Enforcers, I can like Guardian's Pledge, block both of them, assuming they don't have removal or more Death Touch or something. Bargain the Percussionist. Turns up a mountain, draw 2. Could definitely go for another Dust to Dust. They pitch a land with the blood token. I mean, even if we had waited and taken 2 of their lands, do I want to keep my guy alive here? It keeps them from attacking pretty much. Keeps my guy alive, I think so. Even if I had waited, they clearly have enough lands that it wouldn't have mattered. There's a Blood Fountain. Come on, Dust to Dust off the top. They've had everything they could possibly want. Okay, that's actually even better if it draws into a Dust to Dust. Idyllic Grange. I could put it on the Skyfisher, attack for 5. They're at 9, but then it's only a 4-5. No, next turn it is a 5-5, so I could have a 3-turn clock here. Counter here doesn't really matter. This guy's going to die next turn anyway. Might as well be the Skyfisher because it also blocks these. And I can't just block these because they can throw them at me and then just like bring them back with the Blood Fountain. I have to just attack. If they don't have any life gain or removal or ways to kill me quicker, this can probably finish them off in time. It's a lot of ifs, though. Blood token away a mountain. Wellspring. Just attack with the Mirror Enforcer. We'll take 4. We draw land. They get a cast down in our draw step, so this doesn't trigger. I mean, if they have a cast down, they might as well use it on this, but I guess they probably don't. They probably have a Galvanic Blast. Because I was going to say, this actually survives Galvanic Blast, which is nice. But if they let this trigger, then they are dead in 2 turns, whereas if they don't, they are not. So they probably should kill it now, if they have that. But they're doing the math as to whether they want to keep it for, like, throwing it in our face, I assume. We draw planes, which is a real bummer, because if I just got, like, just about anything, like, Thraben Charm would be great. More Inspectors to draw into more cards could be great. I'd like them to do something in here, though, or just pass to us. It's pretty funny because this is about to kill itself, but it's going to pump this. So if they kill it now, they're paying a whole card and a mana just to make it so this doesn't get 1 power. But I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I think if they do just have Galvanic Blast and like a nothing card, they probably should do it because they look dead in 2 turns. Of course, if they had a way to gain life, they probably don't need to, but I assume the reason for the deliberation is they don't have a way to gain life. But it feels like it would just be an easy choice then. And they let it go. Well, we're attacking with the Skyfisher, hoping it can get there next turn. And doesn't really matter what to bluff, might as well play some lands, so if I get a chain of Inspectors, I can play as many as possible. But we need them to not have lethal damage on us, a removal spell, or life gain. They're cracking a Boiling Rock Prison. That is desperation right there. They're looking for like a Toxin Analysis, a Reckoner's Bargain. Either of those gains some life. They attack. I don't think there's a reason to block. Doesn't really matter either way if they have the Toxin or the Reckoners. They haven't conceded, which is not a great sign for us. That's a pretty good draw, though, if they do survive. Well, let's see what they got. There's the bargain. Gain 7. They were definitely looking for it, so they got the perfect top deck. We do get a Battle Screech, which means we still have lethal on them next turn, which is kind of decent. Not to mention a chump blocker or 2. Well, just 1 if we want to have lethal, though. So they need to look for something again. Refurb is pretty good. Eats a card and blocks the Skyfisher or a bird. Play a bridge. So we're going to chump the Mirror Enforcer here because I don't want to go down to almost lethal. No. What if I top deck another Choco or a Mojang Rally? Then I need all of these for lethal. We're not going into 1 Galvanic Blast death. If they have 2 Galvanic Blasts, so be it. I guess they could have like a Vampire's Kiss that we saw, plus a Galvanic, but Raffine's Informant is unlikely to hit anything. I mean, it could hit... I took out the Prismatic Strands, unfortunately. So I guess it hits another Battle Screech. We don't have lethal on them, so we're going to attack, obviously, but we're not going to go for all out. We're going to swing with the Skyfisher and 3 birds. They have to chump here this way, or they could trade with a bird. I guess I could attack with all the birds because I have 2 chump blockers still. If they have removal for these, I guess they could have a Krark, but that's going to wipe these either way. Maybe I leave back a bird because of a Krark. They could get back a Krark with this Blood Fountain. And if they do that, and the Refurb, which they're going to do, then they can wipe these 2, which means this hits me for 4. I could die to just about anything. So let's leave back 1 bird. They chump the Skyfisher, go to 4. No, of course, they're top decking everything they need, bro. That's so annoying. So now they're at 6, which means they're not even dead to the birds next turn. They have the Galvanic Blast. I don't know why they're doing it now, unless they just have lethal, like if they have it right here. But if they don't, I guess they do have lethal. They Blood Fountain back, the Krark, they wipe both of these, and I can only chump block here, and I died to the 1 Clockwork. No, because the Clockwork dies to the Krark, so still not dead, but I have to top deck like Guardian's Pledge right now. And they also get a Refurb, so it has to be Guardian's Pledge, like a Choco's not going to do it. Play a Wellspring, Refurb, Enforcer. Okay, they didn't play the Krark, so actually I can chump with these guys, so a Choco or a Mojang Rally would do it now. So we have a few more outs, but we gotta see them. Fiend's Informant could find a Battle Screech, which could keep us alive. I guess we're not technically dead either way, but that seems unlikely. I literally have to chump all 4 of these, or chump or trade. Theoretically, I've also only seen 1 Dust to Dust this whole game. I guess only 20 cards in, but still, you should see 1 every 15 cards with 4, so... Oh, they have another Refurb, nice. Why not? Another Refurb. Okay, sure. 4th one. And a Spell Bomb. They only have gas left in their deck, apparently. They play like 12 lands, and everything else is... straight fire. Bargain a Wellspring, Mirror Enforcer, Clockwork. I really don't know why they didn't... I mean, we're dead to the second Clockwork, because... No, we have blockers. They could have just killed us if they had played a Krark, wiped our guys, and then played the... I don't know. I mean, we're dead either way, but they should at least play right, you know? Galvanic Blast. Oh, I can gain life off of it with the Hollow. I do think that match is very favored for us. They obviously got very incredibly lucky this game. And game 1, I kept a 1-lander not knowing what I was up against, obviously. So, it's going to happen sometimes. All right, on the draw here. Pretty decent hand. I guess maybe I should stop keeping 1-landers, although now we're against elves, gonna be a tough one. We get some ways to combat them game 2 and 3, but I feel like I could never catch a break. Every time I play against White Weenie, there's always an Elves player, and it is a nightmare of a matchup because we have very little removal, which is problematic. We can't do much about like this Timberwatch Elf. We're gonna loot here, I guess. Get rid of, I mean, random inspectors on the ground just don't really matter, honestly. The card draw is nice. I mean, maybe the Unicorn is worse, but honestly, it can break board stalls a lot easier if we can get to the late game, which is kind of tough because they could just have this I can't really deal with. Timberwatch Quarian, triple Quarian, why not? Or double Quarian with a Timberwatch, so now this can just tap for plus 15 on an attacker. Sure, we'll take it. Probably should block, actually, when they only have one attacker, because then in the future, if they have multiple attackers, I can't necessarily block them all, and if I do, I lose more guys, so probably should block it now. What are you going to do? We do get a Thraben Charm, however, this can give itself +5/+5. They can untap it twice, so there's no way I could kill it, even as a 6/6, or 6 damage rather, because it only has to tap once. Like, we've already lost. We could play it out longer, but legitimately, like, we're already dead. I could have chump blocked this, maybe that would have saved us a little longer, but this match can go extremely long, and I don't really want it to go that long, but that one was just very good draw for them. We get Holy Light, which is good, and we get Standard Bearer. Standard Bearer makes it so they can only target us, our Standard Bearer, with their pump guy, or their untapper and stuff. Great Sword is decent, but feels like they are going to have a couple reachers, but it's just not quite what we need. We need big, sweeping things. And, like, our life gain does not matter. And 1-drops are not as relevant, honestly, just because they have a lot of blockers for them. Obviously can't keep. I mean, this hand looks reasonable in general, but it doesn't have any way to interact with their creatures, so it's probably just going to be a loss. So I got a mulligan. I mean, this one's worse, obviously. It's a tapped 1-lander. I guess I'll mulligan again. Why not? Surprisingly, this is actually one of our better hands. We have a Standard Bearer, which can interact with them a little bit. I guess I keep Inspector and Standard Bearer. This is not good by any means. I'm confident we will lose, but I've played this matchup many times, and it's probably literally like 80% chance for them to win or something. And certainly if we have no interaction in those early hands, we're not gonna be able to do anything. So I could just Standard Bearer here, which I think I do, because if I don't, then they can use a Quarian Ranger and gain a little bit of mana that otherwise I can stop with the Standard Bearer. So that's what we're doing. They have a Priest of Titania and an Elvish Mystic. If we're lucky, we could find a Holy Light and obviously a land to play it. Gonna go for an Informant, seeing if we can get a land or something. Thraben Charm's good. So Quarian Ranger can't untap their elves. Timberwatch Elf can't target their elves. Nyxborn Hydra can't bestow onto any of their elves. Now this is all, of course, true except for Vandal, Masked Vandal, because that's a changeling, which means it's a flag bearer, and this guy cares about targeting flag bearers. They do get a Timberwatch and a bunch of 1/1s. One card left. So if I could just get a Holy Light and a land to play it, I can blow up their board. I can Thraben Charm a creature, but honestly right now the Timberwatch does not matter. Priest of Titania does. It taps for crap ton of mana, but they have 6 mana available. They didn't use it, which feels like their last card is not. Maybe it's a Hydra they're holding on to, in which case I want to hold the Thraben Charm anyway, but it's not a Lead the Stampede. I mean, I'll attack for 3, but I think I hold the Thraben Charm. They're going to double block. Okay, that's fair. I'll take that. It does reduce their mana quite a bit. I'm just going to clue. We get our land, so now I just need the Holy Light. Obviously, running into 2 of their guys makes the Holy Light, you know, our Rafine's Environment could have survived. I didn't really expect them to trade for those, but they're probably expecting that they can't take the damage every turn, they don't want to take excess damage, and they don't want to keep everything around in case a Holy Light does blow them up. Now I can kill 1 Priest, but I can't even kill 2, so it really doesn't make a difference to Thraben Charm them. I'm just going to pass, and we're both just hoping we can draw the right spell. If they draw a Lead the Stampede, then they're in a pretty good spot. If we get the Holy Light, we're in a pretty good spot. Pack Beast, I mean, that's 4 mana, but I can play it to draw a card, and it is an attacker. If they throw 3 creatures in front to block this, I can Guardian's Pledge to get in for some more damage and eat their guys. Play a Forest, they pass. Another Charm's pretty nice, so I think we'll swing with these now, see what they want to do. Double block here. I think I'll Guardian's Pledge. I hit for 2 extra damage, and I get to eat their Timberwatch Elf, which is a creature that doesn't die to Holy Light. And I'm using Guardian's Pledge as removal. I could obviously Thraben Charm one of these, but Thraben Charm already is removal, whereas now I'm turning Guardian's Pledge into removal, so I kind of like that. They are tapping for a bunch of mana with Priest of Titania. They can also just make an enormous Nyxborn Hydra. They don't have to bestow it. But I'm okay with that because that means it can't attack this turn, and I get to just blow it up as a enchantment with our Thraben Charm. I think they just realized they can't bestow, so they're going to just cast it naturally, and they do. We get a Plains. I will blow up the Nyxborn Hydra and attack with these two for 5, and I'll pass the turn to them. So this game's going well. Obviously, we could still lose, but it's going well because Standard Bear is really strong. They did just have a mana-heavy hand without a lot of payoffs, and I did also get 2 of my 4 main removal spells with the Thraben Charms. So they attack for 1, interesting. Inspector, I'm going to swing with these. If they don't block, I can just Guardian's Pledge and win the game. I assume they'll probably chump here, though. Yeah, so they'll just take 1. I could have attacked with the Standard Bearer, but it's very important to keep it alive. Here it was probably safe, because if they blocked it, I could Guardian's Pledge, but didn't really need to. There's the Holy Light. Not really needed anymore, but they do finally lead the Stampede. They have 8 mana still. They can play a Generous Ent, but I can Thraben Charm it, then attack and Guardian's Pledge, Fyndhorn Elves, Quirion Ranger, play the Generous Ent. They can also crack the food. We have 4 creatures though, so we can Thraben Charm for 8 damage on the Generous Ent, untap Holy Light to wipe their board, and we get in for not quite lethal, but just about. I could just attack with like the Guardian's Pledge, but then we don't actually wipe their board. They could survive lethal, and theoretically they could like untap the priests and maybe do some more damage, so I feel like Holy Light just wins us the game there. So it did end up being relevant, and we'll see if we can get the last game here. And that was our mull to 4, remember. So it's often right to mulligan to something, which makes it tough because this is a pretty reasonable opening hand, but it's just not going to win against elves. Now, we do have 2 extra draws from the Informants, so it might be worth keeping for that. I kind of hate playing against a deck where I have to specifically mulligan to not die to them, but it's just true. You gotta do that. So Standard Bearer, I think, is the most important card. This isn't a Standard Bearer hand, but it does have a lot of card draw. We're down to 6. I guess we'll keep this one. It's not much worse than the one we just had. We only have 2 Standard Bearers, but if I had a Holy Light, I would keep that too. So I guess we have 4 cards we're mulliganing for. Maybe I should just keep going. Clearly, I can win on a mull to 4 if I have the right cards. Sure. All right, we have... I mean, this hand kind of sucks, to be honest. But it does have a Holy Light. I guess we'll keep it. Get rid of these spells. Actually, is Strands... I don't even think Strands is better than just like the Rally. I mean, we have all 3 drops, but if we draw the land and maybe the Holy Light catches a bunch of good creatures, we can be okay. I mean, top decking the Standard Bearer is pretty clutch. There's a Mystic and Cycle of Generous Ent for a Forest and a Quirion Ranger. So Standard Bearer means that Quirion can't untap anything. And then, if we're lucky, we top deck the land and we Holy Light them. Get these Blasphemous Elves out of here. They're not holy. Monstrous Emergence. As an additional cost to cast this, reveal a creature, choose a creature you control, or reveal a creature card from your hand. It deals damage equal to the power of the creature you chose or the card you revealed to target creature. Chooses Elvish Mystic. I did have this thought that if they had a Ram Through or any sort of spell like that, I actually can keep my Standard Bearer alive with this Ramogian Rally, because they only are trying to deal it 1 damage. If they were trying to deal it multiple damage with like a Generous Ent or something in hand, which I assume if they had, they would have done, then they could have killed it. But since they don't, Standard Bearer stays alive. Now I'd love for them to play a Priest of Titania, and I untap and draw Plains, and I Holy Light. We basically win the game. Grange, so I have to wait an extra turn. Novice Inspector. Let's see, I could attack for 1, because this can only target this. So I think there's... I mean, I'm freaking out, feeling like they could block this, but I don't think there's any way they could, so it's probably a free damage, and I'm not blocking, so thank God I kept that Rally over the Prismatic Strands, because the Strands would have also done the same type of thing if it was free, but it was not free until it was in the graveyard, and it wouldn't be there for a while. They play Nyxborn Hydra just naturally as a 3/4, not too scared of that. I probably do need to Holy Light for just these 3 creatures. It's not the best thing ever, but it keeps them on 2 mana, and if they have more Hydras or something and start pumping up a bunch of 3/4s, I could lose there. I don't love using it. It felt like they were holding back Priest of Titania, but that's not even going to tap for that much. I don't have anything else really to play, like Chocomog doesn't do much here, so I think we just go for the Holy Light. Still a 3/1. It's not bad by any means. They do have the Priest. They don't attack. Okay, Thraben Charm. So I can blow up the Hydra. Not really what I need to do. I could just kill the Priest to keep them off mana. I kind of want to draw a card so we can hit our land drop for this Battle Screech. I think we'll do that. We do hit the land with a Grange. Nice. Put on the Inspector, which is more likely to attack. Maybe I should have done this the Standard Bearer, because if they have another Monstrous Emergence, it would be big enough, but I'd need to kill the Hydra if I wanted to do that. Alright, Do we kill the Hydra or the Priest here? Hydra makes attacks harder, not just here, but like with the Battle Screech and then the Choco in 2 turns. Priest only taps for 1. I think I might as well go for the Hydra. I almost want to attack with the Standard Bearer. If they block here, it's just not that big of a deal. Like, they've already gone through most of their tappers. I don't think they're going to block. I guess we'll see if they block. If they block, that's fine. But we'll see if it really, like, screws us up losing it. Like, if they have Aquarian Ranger or a Timberwatch, that becomes problematic enough. I don't know. Even if they have a Timberwatch, I feel like the Battle Screech Choco in the next 2 or 3 turns is going to be fine. That could be what they have, because they Roost, Seek for a Forest, and don't play anything else. If we get an Informant, that can't guarantee cast the Battle Screech, unless I hit like another 2-drop or a land or something. So I'm just going to cast the Battle Screech, flash it back, and then Choco next turn, and that's pretty fast clock here. I felt like the Standard Bearer, again, killing the Priest is good, and I don't feel like the Standard Bearers are going to be super relevant for the next 2 turns, and I was probably going to want to attack with it, like not waste that damage with the Chocomog at some point anyway. And if they did take the damage, it was obviously just a faster clock, but again, we'll see if we regret it, but a Lead the Stampede is not going to make me regret it at this moment. Turning up Aquarian and a Llanowar Elves, not a big deal. We have 6 damage on them. This is going to make it 11. And we even have a Plane, so I can Informant and Chocomog. Let's just see if I get anything I want to keep more. Not really. I'd rather just get a counter and play this and put him to 6, and the next turn I can deal him a bunch. Feels like it's going to be hard for them to get out of this. It's like almost never would I want to make it very clear. Almost never would I let the Standard Bearer go, because it's so crucial. If they weren't stuck on 2 lands, had nothing on board, and I had a fast clock. If I didn't even have like the Battle Screech here, I still wouldn't have done that, because like the game could go on another 10 turns and not having the Standard Bearer could be bad. But since I have a pretty fast clock, I think it's okay. Unless they have a Fog, they're going to die here. All right, we win that game, taking a 4-1. Definitely wish I hadn't kept that kind of sketchy 1-lander against Rakdos Artifacts, because I very much probably could have won that first game if I just had a reasonable hand, because they didn't have much going on either. And the second game was unlucky for us, so the third game would have had to also be unlucky for us. But if we actually got like 1 or 2 of our Dust I think it would have been a fair match, and I could have maybe gotten that trophy. So this is why you mulligan. I am one of the biggest advocates for mulliganing, and yet it's still very difficult to mulligan a hand that looks semi-reasonable sometimes, and I just need to continue getting better at it. This deck was sweet, honestly, except for keeping like sketchy 1-landers. The 19 lands did not hurt that much at all, even with having 61 cards, which I realize is a minor thing, but it does affect the mana a little bit. The Sanctifiers, I can't say we ran up against Lava Darts, but we did go up against End the Festivities, so maybe it mattered a little bit having the 2 toughness. They seem fine. Obviously, having the Lunak Veterans from the graveyard could have been more beneficial sometimes, but I think it's definitely a toss-up. We finally saw the Great Sword for like 1 turn. We still haven't gotten a great game where it just like gives tons and tons of value, but I do like the Great Sword. Salt Road Pack Beasts weren't terrible. I did play them for 3 and 4 mana a lot when I saw them, but they weren't terrible at all. I always like the one of Remosian Rally. Keeping that Standard Bearer alive was so good, so crucial, and I do really like the Unicorn. So honestly, if I played this list again, I'd probably drop to 60 cards and take out 1 Great Sword, maybe 1 Hinterland Sanctifier. But overall, I liked all of the choices here. A very sweet list. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you to my monthly supporters. If you want to support me on a monthly basis, go ahead and check my Medify link down below. It's the best way to make sure that I continue to put out daily videos. Thank you to my current $10 and up supporters: Howard Granger, Rafa Rodriguez, JD NPX, Tommaso Magnani, Apple Beta Pi, Halkaz, Cody Cowell, Sty, and Emmanuel Mayer. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you all next time.